Now, when you create divs on a page like this, you can have each one treated as a separate element, or you can nest some of the divs inside other divs. The advantage of nesting, for example with column 1 and column 2, is that if these two columns were nested inside our left div, then when we move the left div, those two columns will go with it, and I can manage their positioning together. At the moment, they're all separate elements. To nest divs, you'll need the AP Elements panel. So in the CSS panel, click on the AP Elements tab at the top. And you see here now all of my divs are listed. What I want to do is I want to put column 1 and column 2 inside the left column, or nested in the left column. If you're on a PC, you'll do that by holding down the Control key. On the Mac, you'll want to hold down the Command key. So I select the div that I want to move, hold down the Command key, and then drag it over the div I want to nest it inside of. Notice that when I do that, it disappears for a moment here in this panel, but this little arrow appears. So if I open that arrow now, you'll see column 2 is now indented to the right, indicating that it's nested inside column left. If you're on a PC, you won't see this arrow, and as soon as you get one div nested inside the other, you'll just see a little dotted line and this same indentation indicating nesting. So let's move column 1, again holding down the Command or the Control key, dragging that column over the other, and now I have nested column 2 and column 1 inside the left column. Now you may have noticed over here that changed the positioning of these two divs, and that's because the absolute positioning here, and if you look here right now it says left 30, top 117. As soon as this div is nested inside the other div, then the positioning is measured from the div that contains the div, not from the edge of the page. So this div, the left div, is positioned in relation to the top and the left side of the page. But these divs inside it are positioned in relation to the div they're now nested inside of. I can change the size by clicking on any of the little square icons and dragging to make this div bigger or smaller. And if I click on the crosshairs here in the corner, I can still move it and reposition the div within its container. So again, I can click and drag these and place them where I want. You can always nest a div inside another div using the technique I just showed you. But I also want to warn you, as you're creating divs, you might want to keep an eye on this because it's sometimes easy to create a div that is already nested inside another div as you first create it. And if you do that, trying to align them can get confusing. So if you're ever not sure why something's not lining up the way you expected it to, just click on the AP Elements tab and make sure that what you want is nested and that you don't have nested divs where you didn't want them. To unnest a div, you can use the same Command or Control key and just drag the div back out of the one it's nested under.